I've learned one thing after watching The Haunting of Hill House and Bly Manor. Don't buy a mansion. Nope. And if you do, make sure it's not haunted. I don't know how you would find that out, but still. What's going on, you guys? James here with another real review, and today we're taking a look at The Haunting of Bly Manor on Netflix, a series I have been anticipating ever since I finished The Haunting of Hill House. If you don't already know, this is directed and written by Mike Flanagan, the genius behind The Haunting of Hill House and Dr. Sleep. Guys, he is amazing, and we'll get into why he's amazing, of course, as this review goes on. But before we get into anything that I liked and I didn't like, guys, this is spoiler free, okay? There are no spoilers from this point onward. Maybe I release a spoiler filled review, I don't know, but you guys can let me know in the comments below. So go ahead and get loud and let me know if you've seen this, what did you think, or if you haven't, are you excited to watch this series? And don't forget to go ahead and smash that big red button below and subscribe to the channel and tap on that bell so you don't miss out on anything new. Guys, this week is going to be busy. I got my reviews for 2 films from Welcome to the Blumhouse. I have my horror reactions dropping Tuesday and Thursday, and a lot more. Alrighty guys, so let's dive right into The Haunting of Bly Manor. Now, this is a season of television that is nothing like The Haunting of Hill House. It's spooky, yeah, they have that in common, but this is an anthology series by Mike Flanagan. There are some familiar faces though, like Henry Thomas and Victoria Pedretti, and they're very good, honestly. I'm glad they're back. But there are some newcomers that I absolutely love. Now let's get into the premise of the show just a little bit with, again, no spoilers. Victoria Pedretti plays Danny, an au pair, or a nanny. I'm starting to learn, a little bit of French every now and then. But her job is to take care of 2 children, Flora and Miles, at this very creepy mansion called Bly Manor. Now, some things go down. It's mysterious. We don't know what's happening at this house, but it ain't normal. Alrighty guys, so let's get started with what I liked about Bly Manor. Now, the less you know, the better. Trust me, go in as cold as you can. If you are watching this review, you should be fine. If you've seen the first trailer, you'll still be okay. But try to stay away from Twitter and social media while you're watching this season of television, because it actually adds to the experience. If you're using, of course, Netflix and you pause or you exit out, for the love of God, don't read the descriptions for the episodes. And the reason I say that is because there's a big spoiler in some of them. Again, just don't read the episode descriptions. Just let Netflix take you to the next episode and binge watch this on the weekend. Now, when it comes down to the show itself, I felt like the acting here was incredibly strong and even stronger than the story itself. There's a short list I came up with of standouts here, and that starts with Raul Coley, who's amazing as Owen. Victoria Pedretti as Danny is terrifying in a good way. Then you have Tania Miller, who is just so strong. The way she can command the screen is out of this world. And then there's the fan favorite Oliver Jackson Cohen, who plays a character that I'm not going to tell you about in this review, but he is really good here. And honestly, he just, he gave me some goosebumps, man. And outside of the individual performances, there were some really dynamic duos that every time they were on screen together, they brought a punch. Rebecca and Peter, Owen and Hannah, and of course how Danny tries to fit into this mold is a really interesting layer that Mike Flanagan peels back as the show goes on. And hey, I did not forget about our 2 child actors and their performances here, because this show was gonna either live or die based on their performances. And trust me, it lived. Benjamin Ainsworth plays Miles, the big brother to Flora, played by Amelie B. Smith, and they're both able to carry such emotional weight, and sometimes you can just see them act with their eyes. They're innocent, yet they're very mysterious at the same time. So yes, they help deliver some of the spooks, and trust me, they both have a promising future ahead of them, especially if they can keep on just like this. Not only were they well directed, but I felt like they delivered their lines so effortlessly. And then there's the mastermind behind it all, Mike Flanagan. Man, when I tell you that he's one of the best working in horror today, I mean it. He is a genius. He brings a different approach to this genre that I'm so used to, I guess, spooking me out, freaking me out, making me jump. He doesn't do that. Instead, it's a very calculated, intelligent way of delivering horror. If you've seen Dr. Sleep, it's fantastic. If not, please go check it out. But here is much more of the same that you loved in The Haunting of Hill House, and he's even improved upon that. He really flexes his muscle in episode 5, where he adds a layer to this show, and I thought, did the show need this? I guess not, but I'm here for it because it just made it more complex and a bit deeper than just surface level horror. And speaking of complexity, this is far more layered than Hill House. Hill House is pretty straightforward. Yeah, there was some mystery in that ending. We all know what happened there, guys. I did not like it. However, here, I feel like Mike Flanagan really delivers a stronger conclusion. The second half of this show, I felt like was a little bit more consistent than Hill House. Trust me, guys, it's a neat idea that he definitely introduces to us, but you have to take some time to appreciate the dialogue and be within the conversations themselves. You don't have to hinge upon every word of every character, but you do need to pay attention because sometimes the smaller details can really add to the big payoff at the end. And if you ever get kind of confused as the season goes on, stick with it, be patient, because it definitely explains a lot. It definitely doesn't leave anything to the imagination. Sometimes it over-explains, which we'll talk about in the negatives. And going back to the writing for a little bit, the themes that are explored here really deal with guilt, love, not wanting to let go, family, and acceptance. I love the fact that Mike Flanagan didn't necessarily just say, let's be crazy, let's be scary, but he said, let's get grounded. And that's what I love about Mike Flanagan, really, is that he just uses horror not only as the only thing he's going to introduce to the audience, but he wants to get you thinking. He wants to have you feel something other than being scared. And yes, just like The Haunting of Hill House, this show looks beautiful. The cinematography is actually even better here than The Haunting of Hill House, and the sound design is, my goodness, it's scary. And before we go on to the negatives and what I didn't like about this season, guys, yes, the show is scary to me, but if I had to explain it to others, I would say this isn't a scary series. However, it does introduce some chilling moments, and when I say chilling, there was this jump scare in episode 8. I almost pooped my pants. Yeah, I think I just said that on camera. There's also this awesome moment where Victoria Pedretti just freaks out. I feel like she's a master at that. She's so good at making me scared, even though she's only screaming. I was thinking, girl, please calm down, but it helped me get immersed, honestly, in the story, in the scene, even more so. She was just so good as Danny, but let me tell you, when she gets scared, I got scared. And what's great is no cheap jump scares. Guys, there were some jump scares, but they were so effective and they didn't feel undeserved. Everything here was earned in a sense. So yes, no dumb jump scares. You're gonna go in and you're gonna get a very good chilling experience. But guys, not everything about The Haunting of Bly Manor was great. And not everything was perfect either. There were some negatives here. And that really starts with the story. For as much as I was raving about its complexity and how the second half, the conclusion to The Haunting of Bly Manor is better than The Haunting of Hill House, I really felt like this is a show that was carried much more by its acting than the storyline. In the beginning, it was a little slow, guys. Trust me, you gotta stay patient with this one. And I'm not saying it's a slow burn. However, some episodes felt a little long. And that length that I'm talking about right now really is due to the side stories here. When it comes to the main storyline, there's little breadcrumbs that are left along the trail that really piqued my interest. But when the episodes kind of divert and detract from your main storyline, it becomes hit or miss for me. For example, there is one episode towards the end that is dedicated solely to just giving you context to what it is you're watching. I don't mind them giving you context, but for me it felt like a chore to get through. Not only was it over an hour long, but unfortunately it was weak in terms of pacing. Nothing was consistently great about it. Yeah, they had some of the scariest moments in that episode, but outside of that, it really didn't leave me wanting more of what we just watched. And then there are small moments that really kind of took me out of this season. One in particular was very early on in this show. Henry Thomas's British accent here is not very good at all. Honestly, it's a little forced, and I can't lie to you guys. I had to rewind some moments because I was thinking too much about his accent, and that was a little distracting. Sometimes, I'll be honest, the story beats were a little slow. They were kind of sluggish, going through the mud a tiny bit. But luckily, a lot of those episodes really ramped up in intensity in the final 20 minutes. Now, this next negative I kind of struggled with. I didn't know whether or not to leave it on the list or not. But guys, the scares are about the same as Hill House. Now, I'm speaking more so to the viewers who want to come in and get spooked. It's not as scary. If not, it's not even scarier than Hill House. I just felt like they were on the same playing field here. Some of the scenes were horrifying. Yes, they gave me goosebumps. But honestly, it didn't happen enough for me to say that this is a very scary show. There's actually one moment that did make me laugh. It probably should have scared me, and this is probably one of the lower moments of this season, but Henry Thomas smiles in the camera. That's all I'll say without spoiling anything, and it was just laughable. It was not good. Luckily, though, that does not happen often. So overall, guys, The Haunting of Bly Manor really is a step up from Hill House in terms of acting and even its conclusion. thank goodness. This season really did give us another example of how horror shows don't have to be stupid scary. They can include themes of love, guilt, happiness, sadness, and still be very powerful. There's a great deal of character development. I love that they focus on certain relationships and friendships, and honestly, I was really taken aback in a good way by how amazing some of these performances were. Raul Coley, I want to see him in so much more. Victoria Pedretti, she crushed it. Everybody in the main cast really delivered, and even some supporting actors did too. It was all around a very well acted show. Now guys, did I get scared? Oh, I did. Yep, I had chills many times during this show. It's not going to be a wash if you are looking for something strictly scary. I think you'll actually stick around because of the acting and some of the story beats. The only thing that really held me back from absolutely loving this show really boils down to episodes feeling a little long and maybe diverting and not necessarily succeeding in some of these subplots. And while that was a chore to get through sometimes, what was super exhausting was hearing the over-explanation. I was thinking, guys, I can piece this together now. I'm getting it, I promise you. And they just repeat certain lines over and over again, which is supposed to, I guess, add to the suspense and the feel of the show. But for me, it just kind of felt like they were talking down to me. And I thought, guys, I understand where you're going with this, trust me. But once those final credits ran and I was done with the entire season, I thought to myself, man, Bly Manor really does a good job at just giving us time with these characters and almost inviting them into our homes for 9 hours. I felt connected to the show. Mike Flanagan once again showed that he's special. I'll watch anything that he directs or writes, honestly. This guy is amazing at what he does. And yes, all of your patience, the amount of time you spend with this season at the end will pay off. And that was my biggest takeaway, is that the payoff at the end was so worth it. So there you have it, you guys. That's my review of The Haunting of Bly Manor. I'm so happy to say that it was worth my time, and I really can't wait to hear what you think and hear if it was worth your time as well. So go ahead and get loud in the comments below, guys, and let me know what you think. Smash that like button, and if you want to see more content, more reviews just like this, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and turn on those bell notifications so you get notified anytime I drop anything new. Alrighty, again, I gotta go work on some more reviews and reactions for this week. So thank you for watching, guys. I love you, and I'll catch you at the next screening.